Hello, everyone, and welcome to our class for today. We have our in-depth education, and this class today is on the topic of the power of you. Yes, it's about your whole integrated self. I'm going to have a deep dive into what that means and how does it help you to own your authority. So we're going to be covering a few things today. So we're going to cover the concept of the integrated self. We're going to talk about this because we've talked about in previous in-depth educations around the blind self as well as the hidden self. And so this will give you an opportunity to kind of put those together and look at the whole integrated self. We're also going to look at how are you going to be able to harness your inner power and embrace this for you to be able to own your authority to lead. And then also some practical impact of integrating your whole integrated self into your life. So for this session today, we do have a resource for you. And so if you would love that resource that we have, then please just type in self and we will get the resource to you straight away. So our topic today is on the power of you. So how are we going, team? We are loving our classes at the moment, loving giving you all this content and resources for you each and every week. Love to hear your comments and thoughts. It is all helping you to be able to actualize your potential as a coach. So what we realize here at Maximum Growth is there are a few things that you're looking for in order for you to actualize your potential as a coach. And part of that is your ability to be able to attract clients to you and be able to increase your client results that you get, to be able to hold on to your clients and have retention with your clients, which means that they stay with you for longer, and then also increase your revenue. So that's what we help you to do here at Maximum Growth, to help you to actualize your potential as a coach. And so part of that is we're looking in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking into this whole integrated self and how do we become the most aligned with ourselves and whole within ourselves in order for us to go out there into the world and express ourselves as a coach and therefore be able to grow our authority and grow our client base as a result. So let me first of all define for you what it means to be your integrated self. And that's when essentially you're aligning all the aspects of yourself. You're aligning yourself with aspects of who you are. And I'm just going to show you the diagram right now with you. So essentially we have our whole integrated self. And that is, let me get it. Oh, give me 1 second, team. We've got our whole integrated self. And so what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to integrate our past self, our current self, and our future self. And so in our language, what we talk about here at Maximum Growth, we talk about this as a void is in our past. Our values are what we are exhibiting right now. And our vision is where we're going. And so we often talk about that we want to have fluidity and we want to have consistency between our void in the past, our current values now, and our future direction. We want them to be in alignment with that. When there's an alignment between all three, you then have the power of you because you're in sync with your greatest, biggest pain point, your current actions that you're taking every single day, and also moving forward in your direction and your vision. Now, we also have a part of our integrated self that's also really important to look at, and that is our inner thoughts. So these are our inner thoughts, and then these are all our outer actions. And so that's thoughts down the bottom. So we want to have as well this alignment between our outer actions, what are we doing, and our inner thoughts. Because sometimes as a coach, we can have this discrepancy going on. I want to do this, I want to do this, I don't like this, it's not what I'm liking. And then the outer actions are different. or our inner thoughts are going, this is what I want for my life and this is what I want, but then the outer actions is actually going against what we want. And so we want to be able to integrate these 5 parts of ourselves together for us to become our whole integrated self. And so that's what I mean by when I refer to the whole integrated self. It's being able to fully express our inner world, our outer world, and making sure our voids, values, and vision are in alignment. And that is the power of you. And so essentially, there's so much beauty when you are being yourself. There's beauty in you being authentic, when you're being aligned with who you are. This is where you get to have the most authority that you can have in your life and as a coach, because you're being you. You don't have competition to someone else when you're being yourself. No one can compete with that, and no one can copy your inspiration. No one can copy that. Not a chance, because it's unique within you, that you have something unique to contribute and offer to the world. It's your individuality inside of the marketplace. And so we want to essentially, why we do our mindset classes in Maximum Growth each and every week, is we want to ensure the inner alignment of self versus the outer actions are in alignment. And that's why we do our mindset classes each and every week, that help you to apply the Demartini method to shift your mindset, to dissolve and resolve some of the dynamics that you have inside of your mind, in order for you to get some alignment there and some congruency there, because congruency is a really big strength and will strengthen your authority when you are going out there to the world. You also are going to be able to lead in a way, when you're being your whole integrated self, you're going to lead in a way that there's no internal conflict and no internal battle that you have between what you want, what you say you want, and what you're willing to do as well. So your words and your actions are matching. And so essentially 5 weeks ago, we did a session, if you recall. If you haven't, highly recommend going and having a look at it. But we did a 5 weeks ago, we did a session on the shadow self. And so the shadow self is coined by Carl Jung, who referred to it as being the unconscious part of ourselves, the part that we're not recognizing, or we are recognizing, but we're repressing, we're denying, we don't want to show the hidden aspect of ourselves. And then as a result of that, we then hide this part of ourselves, and we can't be our whole integrated self if there's parts of ourselves that we're really running away from, or we're hiding from the outside world. I see this often in the coaching realm when we look at vulnerability, which is what we're going to explore in a deeper dive in our in-depth education next week. And so it's like, I don't want to show my raw and realness out to the world. I don't want to be vulnerable, because I want to look like I have my shit together. I want to look like I actually know what I'm talking about. And so it's kind of like saying, going to a personal trainer who's overweight, and it's like, okay, so then you don't want to go to a coach who's falling apart. But sometimes in the coaching industry, that's actually the very thing, your whole integrated self, that you actually get to share those vulnerable parts of yourself that actually build the connection, that build the credibility, because they watch you transform and move through that pain and come to the other side. They go on that journey with you, and then that makes it beautiful. And so if we have shadow parts of ourselves, or repressed parts of ourselves, or our shadow self, and we're not acknowledging them and we're not integrating them, it's going to be very difficult to be able to be our whole beautiful you that goes out to the world. So you do want to maybe go back, if you feel like, oh, that's me, put my hand up to that one, definitely go back to that session and watch it again, or watch it for you. So why do we essentially want to live in our whole integrated self? Essentially, it's your tool to being able to own your authority. We're going to be able to express ourselves out to the world in a unique way, and people are going to then be able to listen, know you're credible, follow you, be inspired by your journey, because you're able to be your whole integrated self. Our personal life doesn't have to also be so tumultuous, because what can happen is we have that fracture between our in our self on the outside and our self on the privately or in the inside, and those two worlds don't match. And so there can be this very big dissonance between the two, and the result of that means that you have this discord in your life, and it's not a fun place to be in, essentially. So we want to be able to integrate ourselves. Do we ever get to this point where we're at the top of it and we've like integrated and we're there and we stay there forever? No, because we sometimes fall apart and then we put ourselves back together, fall apart, put ourselves get back together. And so it's just a journey to integrate, especially if we've been more fractured in our sense of self and fractured in our identity, can be really helpful. Or if we're starting to notice that there's a discrepancy between our inner world and our outer world, or our public and our private life. So this is a perfect class. Okay, so essentially there's two points that we're going to look at today. And so the first is around is the concept of the integrated self. So what does it mean to be truly integrated? What does it mean in your life to really fully live this and live this in the world? And so essentially what's going to happen is you are going to be able to inspire people from this place of authenticity, because personas are essentially going to erode our connection with people. So when there's this mask in front of us, which we've done a session in our Maximum Growth Academy classes called Remove Your Masks, and we actually remove those masks and those personas around us, because if we have them on, we actually get very disconnected, or can get disconnected from the world around us, because essentially we're prioritizing the persona over what's real or who we are and our own identity. We can get so lost and muffled in that journey because we're just wanting to kind of play the persona of what we think other people need, and it traps us in this journey. And it's hard to then reconcile the outer world actions and the inner world thinking. And so that alignment there that we're looking for, we struggle with. So there can be tension, and tension arises. I know for me, I was reflecting on it today, that if I've got inner tension, I start to notice I create outer tension and stress on the outside too. Because almost like trying to match my inner world, I start to create, no, got to make it there. And so what we want to be able to do is to be able to be the most authentic we can be. We want to be able to dissolve as many masks that we feel we are playing and roles that we're taking on that we think we should, and remove them so we can be our whole integrated self. There's also an impact that it has on alignment within you. So when we're our whole integrated self, what happens is we start to recognize, which I feel like it's so beautiful when people really get this moment, because we understand the impact of knowing your values, like what are your current values right now in life, and what are your values here today, and what decisions are you making, how do you spend your money, what do you spend your time on, what energizes you, and you know what your decisions are today. But if you also have an alignment for whatever your biggest voids are, pain points and challenges, and they drive today, and there's no way that you could dissolve every challenge and every pain point that you ever have. No chance. But when you dissolve them, but there's still a void there and it's driving you, and you understand what drives you here, there becomes a bigger alignment in why this is so important. Your values become so important. So when we have that, we get to own our authority, because we're not only owning it in this present moment, we also can own why we've just gone through all of this stuff, all this pain, challenge, the breakups, the get-togethers, the financial challenges, the life challenges, the health challenge. You understand why you've had all of those. And you're like, oh my God, my whole life has been aligning to this moment and why I do what I do. When you see that and appreciate it and deeply know that inside of you, you then get to be an authority out to the world as well, because you're now congruent with your past and your present in this day. And so essentially there are some of the reasons why we want to really integrate our whole integrated self. When we come in and, for example, come to Maximum Growth Academy classes, that's what we do each and every week. We're looking at different ways that we can integrate to our whole authentic self. Because the more we can do that, the more we are who we are, the more you'll know your niche and what you're here to do. You'll know your target ideal client that you're working with. You'll remove the roadblocks that you have and the challenges that you're facing in order to go out there and serve more and actualize your potential as a coach. And so these are the reasons why we do class each and every week as well, because we just want to consistently work on those personas and masks that we have and the roadblocks we have to shift them to be a more whole and integrated version of ourselves. And so if we look at the power of you and we really unpack the power of you, your whole integrated self, your true authority is not going to come from a title that you get. It's not coming from the label you have at the bottom of your email. It's not going to come from external validation. It comes from within. So true authority is going to come from within you, and it bursts out of you. It's because no one can take that away from you. Someone can take a title away. They can take a qualification away from you. They can take all of those things away from you. External validation can go, but they can't take authority that you own within you, that's aligned with you, that's authentic with you and who you are. That is the power of you. And when you align your life with you, you align your inner world and your inner thoughts with your outer actions. It doesn't matter what happens on the outside. No one can take that level of authority away from you. And so when we're in that, what's really beautiful is we become magnetic. Magnetism is like the byproduct, along with inspiration, that it's this secret source that you have to authority. Because if you've got inspiration that runs through you because you're so aligned with what you do, and then you also have magnetism, so people get attracted to you because of who you are, that is how you're going to be able to build authority. So authority becomes almost the byproduct of your inspiration and your magnetism that you combine together. And so when we are our integrated self, that's going to sell. People want that. They want it because so many people feel so fractured in who they are. It's like, I don't even know who I am, or I do. I'm so confused. I'm still making decisions. I chop and change all the time. They want some more certainty because we're leading them to more certainty because we have it within. We also get to lead with purpose because we're not just doing what we're doing and especially being a coach just because I think it's a great thing to do. We're actually doing it because it is so meaningful, purposeful for us, that as a result, that's like the glue that people want to stick to and help you to build your authentic authority. And so we can see people out in the world that are like this, for example, and we have a look. Greta is a great example in terms of her like activist around climate change. Like she has, such a drive inside of her. She has an alignment. She's authentic. She'll speak up. Her inner world and her outer world will match, I'm assuming anyway, just from watching her. And so she hasn't woken up one day and said, I'm going to be an authority today. No, she's just doing her. She's doing you. She's doing the power of her. And then the result of that is she's become an authority in the eyes of others as a result because of that alignment. So I want you to think about you now. Like, I want you to think about the power of you. How aligned are you when it comes to the dynamic that I was showing you before? Have a look at it. See if you're aligned in terms of this alignment, the outer, the inner, the void, value, vision. I'd love to hear from you. So that is a wrap for our session for today. I hope that you got lots of value out of it in terms of the power of you, the power of being integrated into who you are as an individual, and and what you can do to be able to shift your dynamic so that you can be more empowered in you, how you can have more alignment, more authenticity, and you can go and share and make a big difference in the world and own your authority. So thank you so much, team, for coming along. If you'd love the workbook for this, just type in self below. We will get that to you. And I look forward to seeing you at the next